Hey everybody, this is Brian for a solo episode of Curiosity Continuum. Josh may or may not put the music right about here. And he's going to leave me hanging for a bit. I'll just read this short little snippet of our rhythm and roll at the beginning. Who are we? Curiosity Continuum. We are the essential bridge between the analog and digital worlds by creating collaborative communities that unleash the power of adaptive expertise and innovation needed to thrive in the 21st century. We combine and mix essential elements needed to empower people to succeed in new ways, not possible outside of a creative, thoughtful, diverse community of fellow curious people. Today I want to talk about the analog and digital worlds as far as bridging and specifically around analog work. Now, depending on the kind of job you have, you may be very analog. Outside working, maybe you're preparing food at a restaurant, maybe you're serving people. Whatever it may be, you are doing something that's physical and your body's engaged and your mind's engaged to be able to do it. Even if it's something where I'm just lifting like a brick and putting it somewhere. Like your mind has to engage how to lift the brick, focus on the work, making sure you don't drop it. There's a lot of things. I used to think that when you were lifting weights that you weren't really thinking until I actually started to lift weights. And my goodness, what a difference of perception I had when I'm like, wow, I'm really doing a lot of focused work right now just to lift a weight. There's all these stability of muscle things going on. Your mind's engaged differently. So often now, for me especially, I'm in front of a computer. I'm doing work, like right now when I'm recording this episode. And, those productivity tools are good. We have a lot of good things that come from doing work at a computer. It's made us very productive. But there's still something in the human body and the mind that doesn't feel as accomplished. Even though I read a lot during the day while I'm on the computer screen, I don't read as much in an analog sense anymore. So much is delivered to me electronically that I'm not really seeing it written on the page. Now, I've also learned too as I've gotten older that I don't really like to read books as much as I thought I did. I really like to ask questions, have conversations. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I love what Josh and I do when we podcast is because we can just talk it out. I learn a lot by being able to ask questions. Simon Sinek is the same type of mind where he said, I really like to ask a lot of questions. So anyway, when we talk about analog work, there's a connection, mind-body connection, and what happens there. I recently cleaned out a car. Now, I'm not like a super slob in my car, but I just don't like clean it every week. And I live in the southern U.S., and it gets pretty hot during the summer especially. You go and you sweat it out, got a vacuum, doing the thing, disinfectant wipes, all the stuff. I felt really accomplished, even more so than maybe after a week of like, man, I moved the ball forward in a business or something. I'm telling you what, there is something that you feel accomplished about just by doing something that requires physical exertion to some extent. It's not because mind work isn't valuable, but it's because your body viscerally knows, like, I have accomplished something. There's like an output of energy, not just mentally, but physically. And in workplaces, they have standing desks. They have other things like even walking treadmills to be able to do it, to be able to just break up the workday so that you feel that connection. Recently I went on vacation and I was walking over 10,000 steps every day, which I loved. And I was tired at the end of the day. I slept better. I was engaged with it, and like my body was trimmer. I wasn't even trying to do that, but it's just like by those activities and doing it, your body is working, doing things. If you ever go to Europe, there's probably a good chance that you may never have to join a gym because you're just moving all the time. You're walking, you're doing things. And it's not that there's places where you're sitting in front of a computer doing the work, but when you're viscerally engaged, it engages your mind different. I know I feel different after I've done something analog, even if it's something that is kind of mundane. If I go to the dump and I drop my trash off or something, it's a little like a mundane activity, but I feel accomplished that I got it done. There's a time commitment that happens. For some reason, the human body is still designed for that. And really, if we really think about it, digital tools didn't all of a sudden change how many thousands of years of physiology or biology about how you're wired. I think we do really well to take those analog breaks and dive into work that makes you actually exert yourself. It sounds funny, especially in the West. We want the life of ease. We don't want to have to work. We don't want to do things. But the hard work actually, for the people who want to do the work and put it in and focus their efforts and do it, There's much reward still to be had. The problem happens sometimes is when it's become so convenient just to rest on what's been done that we're no longer striving for something better. And sometimes, honestly, when I spend too much time in front of the computer, I feel like I don't know what I've accomplished. There's almost like this misalignment of what I've done. I know I've done things, but I still go, maybe I should do something else. Like I feel like this itch. I think sometimes when people feel that itch, sometimes they'll do it by exercise, sometimes they'll do things because they feel like they've accomplished something. But that makes you want to do more. Those analog activities actually, you like the rest that you feel after you've done them. And your mind processes it differently. I'm going to stop here on this particular one. I want Josh to respond to it because I know that he does a lot of things that can be analog. His job is a very analog job that he does, and he is engaged with his work differently. So we have to find different mechanisms to do it. Is one better than the other? No, not necessarily. There's not a value judgment there. But I'm encouraging you that to add analog elements to your job, even if you're sitting at a desk, even if you're doing something that seems like, well, I just do something and I'm not really like looking at something. Like try something analog to reinforce that. This is just a short little thought for this solo episode. This is Brian for Curiosity Continuum.